Hi, guys. So I'm back with Dr. Lauren Roche, and today's topic is very important. I feel it's something that came up when we were talking to the teenagers, and the topic being boundaries and sovereignty. I feel like it's something that we're not taught, or not even our parents speak about this at home, or we're not taught about this at school, and it's something especially for women that women end up learning the hard way sometimes, but it's not talked about enough. And I remember in the training program with Lauren and Camille, this is one of the first things that we learned about. In fact, Camille and Lauren's book, Meditation Secrets for Women, has a beautiful chapter on, on fortifying one's boundaries and creating one's boundaries. So, Lauren, let's talk a little bit about boundaries and sovereignty
Yeah,
today. How are
yeah,
you?
I'm good. Thank you, Tanya. This is so much fun. So boundaries are are fun and important, and also it's terribly creepy when our boundaries are invaded. Like you can be feeling good in your skin, and then if somebody that you don't want touching you puts their hand on you, it's so creepy. So we actually need to include a kind of a martial arts mentality in our meditation. And it can be just 30 seconds or a minute. Like after meditation, you can sort of, as if you were a Jedi or do magic, you can like configure the force, a force field around you, so that as you go out the door, you have the feeling of I'm inside my personal space. I'm inside my groove. I have my groove on. And it's like blessings to everybody out there. And you don't come into my space without my permission. Like a woman needs to know that if she makes herself beautiful in the morning, and we all love it, the whole world loves it when there's a woman walking down the street or showing up and her hair, she's feeling good in her body, she's dressed beautifully, she's been to yoga, done her exercise class. She's standing in her sovereignty. Of course, people want to touch her. That's human behavior. And the tension, and tension can be delicious, is like, no, like only touch her with her permission. So it's an electricity and a magnetism. And and the challenge is to manage it. Now, if you look at animals and kids, look at the way they want to touch, that people's dogs and cats come over and they want to touch and they want to be touched. They want to jump on you and show you that they love you, and they want to be touched, dogs and cats, and watch videos. So that's what the animal body wants. As animals, we want to touch, but only in the right way. So that's the challenge, is on the one hand, it is to be in our sovereignty, which is like regal. It's like being a queen or a king. Like, this is my space, can only come in with my permission. And on the other hand, there's the desire for contact. And so this is an endless challenge, and all human beings have to learn to deal with it. So how do we do this? So in meditation, we make time for two or three things. One is that part of our meditation is just going to be filtering creepy touch. You have to, like, oh God, when that person came up near me, they were like 10 feet away and I could feel their creepiness. Ooh, keep them away. That's part of a successful meditation, that you have the safe space to feel unwanted touch and feel like scritchy or negative conversations or pain, tiny sensations of discomfort. That's part of meditation. And as you feel it, it'll heal automatically. And then the other is to appreciate boundaries. Like when you meditate, like you don't have to close your eyes. You can sit with your eyes open and appreciate the space all around you. Feel all around you, and then be inside your perfect sphere. And then, if you feel like, allow the eyes to close spontaneously. So it's actually about 20 years ago, 25 years ago, I stopped telling people to close their eyes to meditate. In the 70s, I would say that, okay, let's close our eyes. That's how I would say it. Okay, let's close our eyes. I would never say close your eyes. But then I realized that I don't need to say that. If I've invited somebody to meditate, if I found something interesting from listening to them for them to meditate with, they'll close their eyes spontaneously. They'll be like this. They'll maybe look off into space and feel the enchantment of it. Oh, that's so beautiful. And then their eyes will close spontaneously and they'll open spontaneously. So I realized that it's actually a boundary violation by the meditation teacher to say, close your eyes. It's a bad instruction. I'm violating the integrity of their own inner outward motion.
Wow.
And so I stopped saying it. And sometimes when I'm training yoga teachers, I'll teach all weekend, like Friday night, all day Saturday and Sunday. And at the end of the workshop, I say, does anyone notice that I never said close your eyes? No, they didn't. But everybody's eyes were closed. I would give a setup. I say, well, let's explore, what does their breathing feel like right now? And people would like look around, and then everyone's eyes would close spontaneously. So at the end of the workshop, I say, did you notice? And I go, see, there's no need for the meditation teacher to ever say, close your eyes.
So then boundaries are directly linked with sovereignty.
They are. They're directly linked. So in family structure, like in the United States, more recently, there's been a lot of children that are only child. There's a lot of girls that are only child, or maybe there's one other. Whereas, say, 50, 70 years ago, if there's a girl, she'd likely have brothers. And so she was used to just slapping them down. Like if you have a dog, it's just like, down, get down. She's used to just going, get away from me. So for the rest of her life, she'd have these muscles, just like, and realize that men with that dog-like energy, where they want to jump up on you, they'll just feel this enthusiasm and just go, yeah, fine, no, but no, sit, stay. And if you haven't had brothers, you won't necessarily have developed the martial arts technique.
Defend yourself.
You can see it coming. Like a woman who's had brothers, she could see a guy 20 feet away or start to tickle, like he wants to come over to me. And like being like a dumb man, he's going to try to figure out some line. He's going to try to figure out some, like,
that's such a good point.
He'll be sitting there strategizing. What could I say that would attract the interest of this woman? And if you're not ready for that, it can just be like this continual feeling of microaggression. And you can pass all the laws that you want, but still, like on an animal level, we're very social and we're designed to be in this dance.
And we're designed to be attracted to.
We're designed to be attracted. And so we want to, how do we enjoy the attraction and have distance? Because it is like one of the worst everyday sensations to be touched or intruded on by someone who we just do not want them in our energy field. It just happens. And there's predators of all kinds. Like in my field, I've just been so disgusted for the last half the century at how many predators there are that are therapists and workshop leaders and meditation teachers and so on.
it's an abuse of power, but it's also an abuse of trust, because when you go to a teacher that you rely on, that you're drawing your lessons from,
It is. It's an abuse of trust.
which is why sovereignty is so essential, knowing how to know yourself and guard your inner self.
Yeah. There's predators in every field. And you can't just, there's not possible to have a world without probably, we don't live in an ideal world, or we live in nature. So if we had a village and then there's a river over there on the way, there'd be mosquitoes trying to suck your blood. And then there'd be creatures lying in wait that are thinking, maybe edible. And then in the river, there might be crocodiles. So there's predators in nature. In our world, for our meditation practice, you're not supposed to sit there and practice compassion or just opening your heart or any of these feel-good spiritual sounding terms. You don't want to take that in. Meditation is a place to feel everything. And especially if you're like grumpy, you hate somebody, you hate your homework, you hate your class or your teacher or that person. You want to feel all those grumpy feelings exactly as if it's late at night and you're with your very best friend that you can tell everything to. It's just like, I hate my job. And I just like, I hate walking to work that way. Or I hate the subway, or I just hate this. And I like that thing. And that other thing just gets on my nerves. And I like that music and I hate that music. And like, I like taking whatever it is, ecstasy, but then I hate the way I feel for the next 2 weeks, or I like this. You're just letting yourself chat. In meditation, let yourself chat and don't violate your own boundaries inside by imposing fake spirituality on yourself. This is actually a boundary invasion, and lots of meditation instructions are like being around a creep, where they're like a creepy religious person who's telling you to sit down, shut up, and try to act spiritual. You want meditation to be a place where you can be your bad self, get in touch with all of your instincts, and then heal up. There's a certain amount of repair work where we're just like, okay, that was awful, whatever it was. Now I'm soothed. Now I feel like I'm full of my own energy again. And it hurts to feel through all the little wounds that we get living like that was a horrible conversation. Like I hate it when my mom says that to me, or I hate that thing. We're feel soothed, and then, all right, let's go live. And then you emerge from meditation and spend time just appreciating your spatial boundaries. So, for example, after meditation, you could just sit there with your eyes open and let yourself sort of expand. That this space around you, the space within an arm's reach, that's your personal space. And you want to own it. Part of sovereignty is like, this is my space, and no one can come in without my permission. And if anybody starts to come in, like, you just like, halt, who goes there? And it's very enjoyable. Having a sense of this, it's like a second skin around you, your perimeter. It's the most fun. Because when there's people that you want to be in touch with, that you want to connect with, the electricity of it tingles.
It sounds to me that meditation would help us in this process of learning how to create boundaries and also have a sense of sovereignty. That space that you allow yourself to be your own best friend and accept. I just love what you say about, take all that spiritual nonsense out of your head. It's really an abuse of, you have to let yourself be who you need to be. Accept all the aspects of yourself, the good, the bad, the ugly. And when you're that open with yourself, when you're that comfortable and when you've said what you need to say, there's a certain strength that comes with that. I guess that's what starts to fortify the sense of sovereignty as well.
Absolutely. When you make time to meditate, if you start to feel like anger coming up or sorrow or like or grief or I miss that person, if you suppress that and think, oh, I'm supposed to practice compassion, you start putting yourself on the wrong path. You're moving in the wrong direction. And this is probably mostly what happens in meditation, is that people are, in a sense, they wind up violating their own internal boundaries. The last thing you want to do in meditation is impose somebody else's rule structure on your inner life.
And it just makes me wonder, what is it, at what stage in our lives do we relinquish control? What happens is it's somewhere in childhood where you are told that someone else knows better about you than you know about yourself.
Yeah. Well, it's a dance. Like, for example, take lovemaking. Like in courtship, you might like go for a walk with the person, you might have a meal with the person, you do stuff, you might dance. And one of the other person, you might feel this attraction to the other person, and at the same time you hold off. So when your behavior is like less than what you're feeling inside, like just touching the person can be electric. Just being in their presence, you feel your whole body tingling with aliveness. And so your outer expression is less than your inner feeling. And this is delicious. And you might even hold off on lovemaking and let the energy build and build and build. And then even when you're in bed or you have time to make love, you might play for an hour, let the energy build, let the energy circulate everywhere until like you almost feel electrocuted, just touching lightly. And then you surrender. So there's a play of cultivating energy, letting energy flow, and then surrendering. And it's a dance. There's no rules particularly for it. You feel inside and you learn the way of it. And this is one of the great portals to ecstasy. And if you don't let the energy build and learn how to, this dance of desire and holding back and then completely surrendering, if you don't learn that, you might not ever really experience the cosmic transcendental aspects of lovemaking, where it feels like you dissolve into God. It feels like both people are transported into this divine realm that everybody wants. Everyone needs to find their own particular way to meditate, because we need all of our senses, all of our instincts, all of our emotions, and we need our body to be finely tuned so that we can experience the incredible joy of human relationship.
Which is why I love what you and Camille teach about the meditation. It's like creating a safe space for yourself. It's so essential to create that safe space, have the boundaries so that you can spend that time with yourself. You can really get to know who you are, so that when you bring yourself to another person, there is a process of enrichment that happens. Not that you're just constantly trying to figure yourself out in opposition to another person, using the other person as a soundboard all the time, which is useful.
Enrichment, that's good. That's good, enrichment. So you actually, that's taking what you just said, that enrichment, you can evaluate the success of your meditation if your life is enriched after meditation. And you can tell when your life is enriched. Now, in practice, it's often very challenging. You'll sit to meditate, and depending on whether you've had any quiet time in your life for the last year, when you begin to meditate, it just might feel like noise. Like this one woman said, she was sitting over here and she goes, "Oh my God," the first time she tuned in, it's like, there's a million thoughts flying in all directions. Just freaked out. I said, yeah, that's exactly what the brain is. Your brain is always a million thoughts flying in all directions. She thought, but that can't be. Where's the inner peace? I said, the inner peace is pervading those millions of thoughts. Like, you want to have million thoughts.
Yeah,
And,
it's like untangling. You have to go through the process of going through that cluster. You have to untangle it to find those spaces within. Spend time
yeah.
with tangles.
Well, it's like the human body, to be a human being, you're actually more people than there are on Earth. Like there's only about 8 billion people on Earth, but your body is hundreds of times that many cells. And so inside you, there's like all emotion, all stories, all possible thoughts. And that's just what the human intelligence is. And so if you think about like a city, if you zoom in and you're like in meditation, it's if you're sitting in the middle of an intersection in New York City, it's smog and everything.
Times Square.
It just feels chaotic. But if you zoom up and you look down, oh, that's so beautiful. Like the city at night looks like artwork. So in meditation, you'll sometimes zoom down and be right in the middle of traffic. Honk, honk, and then 1 second later, you're floating above it all or in a larger space. And it's just like, well, that's just beautiful. Everybody's just going about their business. How harmonious. Or like sitting in a coffee shop back before everything was shut down. You're sitting in a busy restaurant, or you can be in a nightclub and there's hundreds of people dancing and talking and there's music playing and you feel like completely at peace. Like, this is beautiful. What fun. In meditation, what people actually experience is like 1 second they're in like the perfect nightclub. It's just a great beat. There's all of my friends are here. I love the DJ. There's room. In the next minute, you're in the middle of the street. And the next minute, you're in the hospital for emotional wounds, feeling, oh, that hurts so much, whatever that rejection, or you'll suddenly remember, oh, that was so awful 2 years ago when I broke up with that person. And I was just like in grief for months. You'll be suddenly in your emotional hospital, and then suddenly you're on vacation alone in nature. And then suddenly you're back in the club. Like what brains do during a healthy meditation, when you're really being friends to yourself, is it'll just zoom at high speed through different areas of your experience, just giving each thing what it needs and then connecting it with that other thing. So that, in a sense, to use archetypal terms, the lover in you and the warrior and the hunter and the student and the mother and the child and the friend, the father, all these, the healer, the magician, that all these different parts of you are linked together. And brains do this at high speed. They'll touch into all the different aspects of you. And each time you move from one point to the other, it's as if you weave like a neon light, bridging. You make a light bridge between that part of you and that part of you. Like some hurt part of you or wounded or scared, and the courageous part of you and the warrior and the teacher. Each time you move around, you build a bridge. And which is why the word yoga is used. Yoga means connection, means linking things together. And that's what brains love to do. When we look at the chakra system, as homework, go and look at just type chakra into a search engine. What life wants is for all of the energy centers of the body, all the chakras, to be like good to go and a team where each center is allied with every other center, the head and the heart and certain chakras lower in the body, your power, the belly, that each part of you, each intelligence is supporting the others to go forth and live or go inside and heal.
Mhm.
Brains, bodies want to make alliances.
That's why it's so important, and we can't reiterate this enough. Do not suppress the thoughts that come up when you sit down and have some alone time with yourself.
Yeah,
And it's important, when you're on this path, to have a meditation coach that can guide you, because a lot of people are doing these things on their own and not feeling like that. Because sometimes I feel like a meditation coach can give you that gentle guidance, that mirroring that you need in order to get deeper within.
yeah. I had these incredible teachers in 1968. I had some women and some men, and their attention was so beautiful, and their love and the skill of their teaching, that it alerted me to find that everywhere in the world that it would appear. So I like, oh, that's what it is. It was like learning what good wine is like really good wine. And then if you taste cheap or bad wine, it's like, no, that's not, sorry, that's not wine. Um, they alerted me to what skillful attention is. So then I would find it in different places, like in, say, musicians and dancers and in body workers and in friends. I would find this skillful attention.
Meditation is a process that will help you gain a sense of boundaries, a sense of sovereignty. It will enrich your relationships because you take the time to spend that time with yourself, to get to know your inner world, get to know all the archetypes that are existing inside you. And it's such a joyous adventure. Therefore, you're absolutely right, Lauren. Everybody needs to learn how to meditate. Everybody needs.
In a way that honors their boundaries.
So wonderful, Lauren. Thank you so much for your time. This was
Yeah.
so cool.